Warhound, and we are going to be talking about the Iran war and bad a lot of people are getting silly about it. So I've already did a show earlier today. I encourage everyone to check out. But yeah, we got the great Tom Longo says, we got a lot to talk about.
Yeah. um so first things first, just to apologize to viewers. I have a new work schedule and we had to adjust things in order to fit that requirement. Thankfully, we're able to do the show tonight. Next week it's a 50-50 on whether or not we'll be able to do it.
Okay.
We'll have to see. So so we're already seeing the chuckling collapsitarians and the third worlders and the Eurofags and all of them across the board. We're seeing all of them crash out now because Iran is done.
Yeah.
Everything is done. Everything is over. We are getting reports of militias inside Iran targeting the IRGC directly. I saw some videos claiming to be said militias in Isfahan taking out IRGC units. We are seeing massive pushback on the ground from armed factions, which, by the way, what military unit do we have that specializes in this kind of thing? Oh, wait, that's called the Green Berets.
Yep.
So it's really a case of like, okay, cool. We're seeing all the things that we would typically see with this kind of shit. Now, everybody's still screaming about the Strait of Hormuz, but the Strait of Hormuz has basically been resolved. The Europeans are coming in because they know that they have to try to put some influence into the situation in order to have a chance of coming out with any win whatsoever. Their play with Lloyd's of London failed. Their play of trying to strong arm Trump failed. So on and so forth. Because one of the key things is, and I saw somebody make a post earlier today. Oh, the A-10 is a worthless piece of shit. Let it fucking die. And I was laughing so fucking hard because I'm like, and replace it with fucking what?
Yeah.
High and fast is just as good as low and slow. It's just what is low and slow good at versus what is high and fast good at. Well, low and slow, see, there's a fun little plane that seldomly gets talked about from World War II. It's a plane that most people don't think about when it comes to speaking about the war. But in my opinion, and mind you, my opinion is not, rare or uncommon or, not fucking, unnormal whatso fucking ever. The PBB Catalina was one of the most important planes of the war. The Catalina saved people, literally, figuratively, and very violently at times. Because this was the plane that would fly in under enemy fire to either pull people out of the water or make sure motherfuckers didn't get out of the water. The Catalina, for example, a lot of people will most famously know it as a sub hunter.
Yep.
Or
a courier. That was the other thing.
Well, yes, it did courier. It was actually the older B-18s that were used as couriers a lot. That was actually because the B-18 or B-16, sorry. The B-16 was so outdated compared to the B-17 or the B-20, 24 or whatever.
Yep.
It was so outdated that they actually turned it into a logistics plane. And by the time enough C-47s got into the air, those planes were relegated to the dustbin basically after that. But yeah, the Catalina was a sub hunter. It was a search and rescue plane. It was slow and very low when it came to its profile. And one of the crucial things to understand is that you need something that can do that job. Period in the story. Now, the A10, is it doing search and rescue? No, not at all. But you strap some fucking heavy ordnance that can sink a sub to that bitch, all of a sudden it gets real fucking interesting real fucking quick. Way lightweight torpedoes would be able to be mounted on the A10, just saying.
Yeah. Well, I did an interview with my friend Richard, who I mentioned earlier, and he had nothing but praise for the A10. And he just said the problem with the A10 is it's just so old, and the cost is very cost prohibitive to keep it going.
But
they just don't have anything else that can do the job. Maybe helicopters.
So here's the fun part. No, helicopters don't have the range. That's one of the big problems. The range profile. The A10 is antiquated from a design philosophy standard. So you just need to design a new airframe. That's it. You can keep the plane doing its exact fucking mission. You just need a new airframe.
Yep. And the other problem is, unfortunately, the top brass at the Air Force are all pilots, and they disdain ground attack.
Well, guess what? The Air Force pilots that are, part of the top brass, guess what? They can eat my ass.
I know.
Because fighter jockeys don't fucking matter when they can't get close enough to the fucking target. Oh, by the way, what's Wild Weasel, motherfuckers? Oh, that's right. It's the fighter pilots getting told, hey, guess what? You get to get shot at so the bombers can make it.
Yep.
Guess what? Fucking eat it. No, I despise fighter pilots.
Okay.
Because across the board, most of them are egotistical pieces of shit. Unfortunately, the era of good fighter pilots that just care about fighting is long and dead.
Yeah.
Unfortunately. Now, getting back to Iran specifically. Now, the A-10 flying sorties to take out unmanned surface vehicles is a huge fucking deal from two perspectives. One, there hasn't been a plane for dedicated anti-marine warfare in a while. Name one. The F-111, for example, could mount lightweight torpedoes. Could. Yeah. But that's a could. It didn't. The only assets that have been doing that job have been helicopters. There are helicopters, for example. There's a version of the Black Hawk that can mount 2 lightweight torpedoes on it, and it can drop those torpedoes into the water and hit targets. But we haven't had a plane fucking doing gun runs and shit on targets. Which, by the way, a lot of people might not understand this, but range is a thing, and the A-10 can loiter for a long fucking time.
Right.
So, yeah, when you've got bullets to spend and you've got the loiter time to actually fucking spend them, that's a big fucking game changer when it comes to the overall playing field. Now, frankly speaking, the situation as we know it right now is by attacking the unmanned surface vehicles, we are creating a situation where the IRGC doesn't have any place. They don't have the anti-ship missile batteries that they touted were annihilated. Absolutely. Like completely and utterly fucking just blown to shit. And they don't have any other fucking asset to hit shipping. And mind you, I will point out, everybody, a lot of people keep playing up this idea like, hey, we're gonna have all of this stuff going on and nobody's going to be able to do business. Well, guess what? The Gulf states have literally looked at Iran and said, okay, game on, bitch. And they've started smacking. Yeah. This bitch slapping, as I've referred to the Iran war so far,
Mhm.
This bitch slapping will go down in history as the most epic bitch slap of them all. Oh, literally, that's all it is. Like they accomplish, and I've seen now several things that indicate like they have been surprised by how much they got done on day one. You know, as Tom put it, you know, they skipped from page 1 all the way to page 10 on day 1.
Yeah, that certainly is true. Richard was talking about how it's 10,000 sorties so far. Jesus.
Oh God, that puts it in a context that you might not understand for me.
Sure.
10,000 sorties. Holy shit, those poor ground crews.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Oh man, those boys. Holy shit.
Mhm.
That's a lot of maintenance.
Yeah.
But you know, the simple fact is that, you know, what's their next play? Well, now, you know, the Iranians are offering a deal. You know, they're like, oh, we won't negotiate with Witkoff and Kushner. We'll only negotiate with JD Vance. And I'm like, okay, well then, you know, guess who is also sitting at that table at the behest of JD Vance?
Yeah.
Marco Rubio.
Of course.
Which, you know, of course, then the never Trumpers, the never Vances, the you know, all these fuckheads, they're trying to drive a wedge between Vance and Rubio as hard as they fucking can. And those two are literally thick as thieves. Like, it's hilarious to me because, mind you, I'm going to point something out to everybody. Midwest hillbillies do not like Sunbelters. Sunbelters do not like Midwest hillbillies. We do not fucking like each other whatsoever. There is an actual sense of contempt and just outright apathy that the two groups have for one another. I speak as a Midwest hillbilly. So across the board, the fact that those two are as thick as thieves as they are is impressive because the cultural dynamic that's at play there is actually a big fucking deal, which, you know, we can get into that as a separate point. But the fact that those two are there, and again, you know, the assholes in our midst are trying to drive a wedge between them, is indicative of something. Now, out of the discussions between Marco Rubio or Vance, Marco Rubio, and the Iranians are now offering a 5% royalty. A 5% royalty. Interesting. Where did that come from?
Yep.
Oh, it's almost like negotiations have been ongoing with the civilian government of Iran.
Probably, yeah. That's been kind of my...
Oh, no, and it's not probably at this point in time. Seeing the moves that are being made by Iran, there's no desperation. There's no, like it's very clear. Like the group that is negotiating right now with JD Vance and Marco Rubio is not the same group that we're trying to stall with Witkoff and Kushner. It's two totally different fucking groups. And guess what? There's no European shitbags in the room behind them.
Oh, yeah, I definitely noticed that. I've mentioned that on several occasions. It's like, no, notice that the people who've been supposedly the great mediators of the Middle East for the last 200 years, none of them are in the room.
Yeah. So, simply put, we're looking at a situation that is far, in a way, better than we could have ever fucking imagined. Now, people are currently, you know, talking shit because JD Vance made a statement saying, you know, oh, the IRGC was planning on attacking the US with nuclear suicide vests.
That is not what happened. I checked with Grok when I heard it. I said, what is this? And he's like, no, he's making a comparison. Like, it was not, he never said nuclear suicide vest.
Well, no. So here's my point. Is it doesn't matter it doesn't matter the context, really. It's just the fact that it's like, hey, guys, I'm going to point something out. One of the biggest concerns we had going into Venezuela, and one of the biggest reasons why there was an entire fucking carrier strike group off the coast of Venezuela, was not because we were going to be striking Venezuela. It's because we don't have a sensor network on the southern coast the way we do on the northern border and on the east and west coast.
Right.
That carrier strike group has all the sensors that we need in order to detect shit.
Right.
And across the board, one of the biggest concerns, especially from my perspective, was the threat of potential nuclear contamination from an attack on one of our major ports.
Right.
Say, for example, the port of Miami. And, oh, wait, what was one of the big things about Venezuela, Colombia, Ecuador, Cuba? Oh, wait, that was securing our southern coastline. So, yeah. What happens if, for example, some dude fucking decides to park a cargo container on a ship that's loaded with nuclear material?
Yep.
And then with a shit ton of conventional explosives. Now, everybody is like, oh, but it was proven that dirty bombs don't work. Okay, that's fine. But the problem is what happens when a harbor is contaminated with a shit ton of fucking nuclear material?
Yeah, dirty bombs do work. I don't understand why they don't.
It's a very localized thing.
Yeah.
They don't, you see, here's the problem is that everybody, back in the day, everybody was like, oh, if a dirty bomb goes off in LA, the radiation is going to reach down to San Diego. It's like, no, it's fucking not. It's going to reach maybe 3 or 4 blocks in LA.
I mean, if you don't even have to do that. You just take the stuff that was on the train to East Palestine, put that into cargo carriers and light them off.
Well, sure, but that's a little different. I'm saying the perception.
Yeah, I know.
It's the perception.
Nuclear is always the big bully-hoo, but I was like, when I heard what they did, I'm like, oh my god, they launched a terrorist attack on their own country.
Well, and again, I'm gonna point in regards to the East Palestine situation. There was definitely a bit of suffice to say, the Ohio EPA, the federal EPA, and several agencies were all basically issuing countervening orders at the same time. And a bunch of different groups are responsible in a way that the East Palestine fiasco was literally textbook incompetence across the board. So there's a whole thing there. That's a discussion I'd rather have on a different episode.
Yeah, definitely.
Now, regardless, the point is that it's like, hey, okay, so the IRGC is threatening to do this. Well, guess what? We know IRGC is present in South America. We've been hitting the bastards. We've been taking their assets off the board. We've been organizing the killing of IRGC bastards indirectly in Iran. We've been hitting them directly. Warheads to foreheads, motherfuckers. So yeah, of course, I am going to suspect that the IRGC is going to try to do something, period in the story. So everybody who is, crowing that, oh, this isn't going to happen, blah, 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 blah. You need critical mass, blah, 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 blah. I don't give a fuck what you have to say. A fucking depleted uranium. Gonna point this out. Depleted uranium. Normal fucking nuclear waste. Loaded up into a fucking vest. The containers aren't that big. And you have, say, 10, 15 pounds of C4. A single detonation in a somewhat enclosed space. Yeah, that's going to contaminate a decent sized area. Oh, by the way, if a building becomes contaminated, say, for example, the Empire State Building or say, the Pentagon,
Mhm.
or say the White House, or etc., etc., etc. You know, I'm just giving examples.
Yeah.
These buildings cannot be cleaned.
Mhm.
They cannot be rehabbed. They cannot be there's nothing. They have to be destroyed. They have to be torn down. Because once that shit gets into the vents, especially in some of these older buildings, and anybody with a fucking clue, and mind you, I'm speaking from the perspective of somebody who is a technically, by all rights, right now, an apprentice HVAC technician.
Mhm.
It is impossible, physically impossible, to purge the HVAC system, the ducting, and all the bullshit without a full tear out.
Mhm.
It is impossible to purge a building of
Mhm.
particulates.
Right.
Now imagine if it's fucking depleted uranium or something to that degree.
Mhm.
Yeah, I'm sorry. The possibilities are there, bud. You might not like the fact that the possibilities are there, but guess what? You don't have to like it to fucking acknowledge it. Sort of how, like, for example, sarin gas. Oh, by the way, what is one of the most common and easily manufactured chemical weapons?
Mhm.
There's a reason why the US sold a shit ton to the Iraqis.
Right.
So, simply put, the fact of the matter is yeah, there's actually quite a bit of potential.
Mhm.
So, get over it. Stop crowing like a little fucking and yeah, just go get laid. Like I've noticed this. Like at this point in time, the lack of getting laid is really harming the psyche of a bunch of people. But
Yeah.
hey, you know, it is what it is. I wouldn't know. But anyways, and what makes it even funnier, and this is for me on a personal basis,
Mhm.
is the fact that we've seen so many good things, and I mean so many good things, come out of all of the shit that people have been crowing about the most.
Mhm.
It's been unfucking real. Look at the situation with Venezuela. You know, everybody was was freaking out, like, oh, we're gonna take over the oil in Venezuela and it's gonna hurt the world, blah 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 blah. And then all of a sudden, there's fucking all kinds of different countries having access to Venezuelan oil for the
Right.
first time in years. You know, the Europeans are bitching up one side and down the other that they're having to pay fucking retail.
Right. Right.
Like they're bitching about that.
Yep.
Oh, wait, no, actually, let me remind myself. Oh, they have a tariff on them. So they're paying a premium because fuck you, you don't get a free fucking lunch from us anymore, you dumb fucking sons of bitches.
Right.
And that's the whole point, is like at the end of the fucking day, it's like, I'm sorry, but I'm eating steak all the fucking time. I don't know what the fuck you people are talking about.
Mhm.
Hell, at this point in time, the only thing I'm missing is the stogie.
Yeah, no, definitely all that's true. That's one of the things I've been trying to push into the zeitgeist, as Tom says. Just the fact is that we need to normalize Iran, Venezuela, Russian oil, so that because that is in the true national interest, and stop thinking, oh, doing the stuff of the European Union. Like,
So here's the fun part. Here's the fun part. So do you know why we are controlling the flow of Venezuelan oil right now?
oh, there's a series of reasons, but the one,
It's European banks.
oh yeah,
There's several key European banks, which by the way, we are stealing one of those key banks. By the way, UBS.
oh,
You know, another win that came out of fucking over the EU. By the way, everybody, you know, oh, we're stealing UBS.
Mhm.
Like, I'm sorry, the third biggest bank in fucking Europe is trying to move its domicile to the United States.
Yeah.
And somehow that's not a win. Oh, fuck you people. Anyways.
Well, so many of these people just aren't aware of what's going on at the same level as we do. Someone
absolutely.
said,
but the problem is that then there's these, I refer to them as well, I don't want to say that, the faking gay commentariat. Let's go with that. I would rather use a more colorful word, but I'm trying to be nice.
Yeah. You're not using the other.
Yeah, you know exactly what word I want to use. You know exactly which one. But no, the simple fact is that that segment of the commentariat that is like, I literally, there's this one chick that I started following with the express purpose of being able to just debunk her shit, because it's just like, I'm just going to start engaging these motherfuckers directly and just being like, no, fuck you. But the simple fact is that it's like, you people are idiots. Like, the regular folks who don't know anything, okay, that's fine. Their ignorance is not, it's not really their fault.
Yeah.
Because they don't know who to trust. Like, a lot of people have this idea of, the uninformed voter. Actually, there's a lot of fucking people that are not informed simply because they don't know who to go to for information.
Right.
There's a reason why people listen to Candace Owens, unfortunately.
Unfortunately.
But that's the point, is that it's like, like, I talked to my guys, and like, I introduced one of my buddies to Tom, for example. And my buddy will text me every once in a while. He'll just be like, okay, fucking explain the shit to me, because I'm fucking lost. And now he's sitting and he's fucking like, I thought I was rabidly anti-British. This motherfucker, like, combined the Italians with the IRA. That's how rabidly anti-British he is at this point in time. It's hilarious. I love it. But the point is that, I'm sorry, but what are these people supposed to do when they've got all these fucking assholes who are continuously dribbling out this fucking stupid bullshit, who then they have to take it at face value because they don't know any better, which, again, not their fault. They're being fed fucking bad information. But yeah, no, that commentariat, like, they have no fucking clue, and even if they do have a clue, that just means that they're on somebody's payroll, which the vast majority of these motherfuckers, I know whose payroll they're fucking on. Yeah. Candace Owens, for example, there's this whole thing within the counter Candace, the anti-Candace sphere, where it's like, oh, she's a lesbian. It's like, motherfucker, she's married.
She's like married to a fucking kids or something like that.
She's married to a British fucking noble.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sorry. Last time I checked, there's a shit ton of fucking money involved there.
Yeah.
Oh, wait. There's not just money. There's a shit ton of influence. Like, Jesus fucking, what's his name? 0 Hour. You seen him on Twitter?
Maybe.
I would have to go find him and show it to you. He's one of the worst, because it's like, bro, you're either just stupid or you don't know any better. Like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah. And so many people are on payrolls, and it's interesting to see who's going on. Sometimes it's just like, they're working for the Russians. I can respect that, Judge Knapp, but
oh, well, okay. So real quick. So here's the fun part: is he's not working for the Russians. He's working for a particular group of Russians, and and this is so just because this is actually a topic that I've been wanting to discuss with somebody for a few days now. Actually, I've just been so dead tired that I haven't had the chance. Dude, today was actually one of the first days that I actually sat and talked to somebody other than just coming home and being like, I'm dying.
Your new job is definitely going to have that effect if you have.
Oh yeah, it's kicking my ass to say the least. I have been ODing on fucking ibuprofen and freaking acetaminophen because of how bad I'm hurting. But no. So the fact that we are seeing all these different groups come out to play. And one of the things that I really want to say to people is stop assuming right out of the rip that some of these people are genuine people. You know, like, for example, Judge Knapp. Do I think Judge Knapp is genuinely interested in some of the shit that he says? Yes, absolutely. 100%. He seems like at least a genuine fucking actor, but at the same time, he definitely gets paid by the Russians. Now, the group of Russians that he's specifically paid by, they have a anti-American bent to them in a way that is, it's common because there's this, whole betrayal at perestroika mentality that is pervasive through the Russian population. By the way, just going to point this out to you guys. That was Bush Sr. Bush Sr. is now dead.
Yeah.
And nobody really likes him. Like Baby Bush, the only reason why he got elected was because enough people were like, "Now fuck that Al Gore guy."
Yeah.
This is something I really need to. I really want to impress upon the Russians. In American politics, it's more about who is the least hated, not who's the most liked. Who's the least hated?
Right.
And in the case of Bush v. Al Gore was getting that boot as hard as they fucking could.
Yeah.
And still, technically speaking, Gore won somehow, which, again, given it was Florida's recount that technically put him over, I'm going to call bullshit, given the fact that, we've seen what's going on in Maricopa. We've seen what's going on in Georgia.
Here's another thing that's not well known. I mean, even Bush's campaign manager didn't know this, but Rubio has come out and made this statement, and I saw it one time. And he said, "We were just going to overturn the results of the election. I was speaker. I was a speaker of the House for the Florida Congress state." And we were fast tracking legislation to overturn the election and send in our own group of electors, regardless of the recount. Because your system the elections are not necessarily how your electors are determined. It's determined by the legislatures. And I was like, oh, well, that would have been a much more interesting thing. Personally, I think they should have just kicked it. Supreme Court shouldn't have taken the case. They should have just kicked it to Congress and let the Congress, which was Republican, elect in W, and everyone could just blame Congress, which was his constitutional job. Hi, Kelly.
Well, remember, Congress doesn't like anything that puts a blemish on them. But the point is that it's like, at the end of the day, all these different groups, like with the Russians, there's three groups of Russians. There's a few groups of Americans, there's a few groups of Russians, there's a few group of Chinese, for example. In the case of the Russians, there's the normal Russians, the run of the mill, just going about their day, doing their thing, trying not to deal with a lot of the bullshit that we have, or they have, regarding a lot of the crap going on in the world. Then you have the ultranationalist crowd, which the ultranationalists, they're headed by Medvedev.
Yeah.
And they're just, vehemently anti everybody.
Yeah.
Like everybody. And then you have the anti-American crowd, which, like, for example, you want a good example of the anti-American Russian? Go fucking check out Russians with Attitude. Great example.
Yep.
Great example. Then you go over to the Chinese. The Chinese are fascinating for me because there's a full-blown shadow civil war going on in that country that nobody clocked, but this guy did. By the way, I'm just going to point this out. I've been talking about this fucking bifurcation in China for the past 10 fucking years.
Oh, really? Okay.
I fucking managed to clock this shit somehow, some fucking way back in the day, because I felt it was so fucking weird how the PLA and Xi Jinping had just, or not Xi Jinping, but the guy before Xi Jinping, he had just come to power. And there was this whole weird relationship that was going on. Hi, Kelly. My name's Warhound. I'm the chief of shenanigans. How are you doing tonight?
Yeah. Yeah, Warhound and I try to get together usually once a week to kind of discuss what's been going on in the world.
Yeah. But the point is that what you end up having is that there's this weird relationship between the PLA and the CCP. Because everybody thinks, oh, CCP controls the PLA. No. In reality, I kind of view it similar to how things are working in Turkey, where you have the central government, then you have the Janissaries, which is the military.
Right.
The Janissary system is alive and well in Turkey, period in the story. The Ottoman Empire never went away, by the way. It's just they want you to believe it went away, just like how they want you to believe that the British Empire fell. But the CCP does not control the PLA. And there's a reason why Xi Jinping, over the course of his tenure as chairman, has pushed so hard to build a secondary military via private security forces throughout the entire fucking nation. By the way, go back 10 fucking years. Private security did not exist in China.
Yeah.
As an industry, it did not fucking exist whatsoever. Xi Jinping comes to power, that motherfucker almost immediately starts allowing the formation of private security companies. It was one of like, I want to say within 6 months of him taking the chair.
Oh, really? 6 months? Okay.
It was quick. It was really quick. And mind you, the PLA are not being used to garrison these different places, like the different ports and projects that they have across the Belt and Road Initiative. It's private security contractors being used.
Barry Wagner of Z.
What? No. These are not Wagner. Wagner is a.
I didn't say you are. I was just making the difference.
Yeah, you can make the joke. No, the key difference is this is more American style contractors. And yes and no, Kelly. They are, but they're not. They're not that type of commie. They're a different type of commie. They're more of a, British flavored commie.
Yes. She's interested in learning more about the British role or City of London stuff. So
very good. But the point is that what you end up having is that the PLA they aren't given these roles, and it's for good reason, because again, every time, and this was one of the main reasons why I clocked, or one of the main ways I clocked this whole civil war that's going on in China, was every time Xi Jinping would get put in the hospital, it'd be like, oh, he's super sick. Okay. And then all of a sudden there's a bunch of, outside news media that's being like, oh, is Xi Jinping dying? Is he on death's bed or at death's door? Yada, yada, fucking yada. And then he would make a recovery. And then all of a sudden, like 3 or 4 fucking generals would get purged.
Yeah.
And it's like, weird. The first time you're like, that was weird. Second time you're like, oh, it's weird that happened twice. 3 times, and you're just like, okay, what the fuck is the pattern here?
Yeah, clearly we were seeing a pattern of coups attempts.
Well, and that's the point, is what you end up having across the board. Kelly, just because you said that, look into Singapore and Hong Kong. Have fun. You want to find out where all the U.S. debt is, look into Singapore, Hong Kong, Bahamas, so on and so forth. But the point is that what you end up having is like, okay, you have these 2 groups within China that are vying for control. And the only thing keeping the state of China from falling into a complete fucking civil war, where they're openly fighting each other in the streets, is the people of China. Because the PLA can't fucking take over if they don't have the support of the people. And the CCP has the support of the people. And thus, the PLA can't make a move against them. Which is why they have to try to fucking poison Xi as much as they do. Or, send gunmen, rogue gunmen attempt to kill Xi Jinping. Engaged and eliminated by Xi Jinping's security forces. Oh, weird. It's almost like it was prophetic. By the way, just so you're aware, the PLA handled the security of the chairman prior to Xi.
Yep.
And when Xi took power, he stopped doing that.
Yeah, there's Kelly, what we're referring to is some of the Praetorian theories that are out there that a lot of the security services are basically holding various leaders hostage. I do think it is very interesting that when Trump got elected in 2016, he replaced his own security detail with a bunch of New York police officers.
Yeah. Weird how that works, eh?
Yeah, weird how that is.
Well, by the way, and you know why he chose New York cops, right?
Of course. They had their own, after 9/11, they ran their own intelligence outfit.
No. Do you know why he replaced the guys with New York cops though? Why is New York important there?
Wall Street?
No. It's because most of those guys had either direct or indirect connection to Trump.
Yeah.
Because yes, Kelly, very much like how Maduro was guarded by the Cubans. But yeah, no, Trump, I've got it on good authority that at least half of the New York cops that he brought in, at least half of them had direct relation in some form or fashion to Trump.
Yeah.
Whether it was through business or through events or whatever, they had good connection with the man. Yeah. So he brought in those he knew would actually fight for him.
Right.
But
I remember when Susan Kokinder mentioned that on one of the Promethean Action shows. She's like, "Oh yeah, I could tell those were all New York cops," and I'm like, "Oh yeah." I mean, New York ran its own illegal intelligence agency after 9/11 because they were like, "We're never going to let this happen ever again."
Oh yeah, absolutely, yep. Now one of the other things, moving over to the U.S., we have our different groups here. Now, I find it funny that one of those groups, a lot of people didn't talk about previously, but now are getting a lot more attention, and they don't like the attention that they're getting. What group is that, David?
Sorry, what was that?
What group do people not really talk about much and are really, 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 really not okay with the fact that they're getting talked about a lot now?
Oh, there's so many people out there right now.
Yeah, true. Mormons.
Yes, your perennial favorite group to hate. I just did another podcast with a friend of mine about Christian Zionism, which was fun because found out from a theological perspective, they're borderline Satan worshipers.
Yeah.
Oh crap! You got it.
Yeah. Oh yeah, the Mormons are. Yeah. Oh yeah, I could go on for hours about Mormons. But one of the fun things is now, there was a very interesting little thing that came out. The state of Utah What's its number one trade partner in the world?
Didn't we discuss this? I think it was state of Utah, wasn't it? UK.
Yep.
Mhm.
The United Kingdom.
Mhm. Yeah, so many of these weird religious groups seem to, and or communism and anarchism are all fostered by the British, and it goes back a while. They just the fact that what was that lord who was responsible for that? But yeah, like Engels and
Oh, Milner.
yeah, Lord Milner got
Yep.
up to all kinds of
The
shenanigans.
father of MI5.
Yep, and the guy who basically you know, because we know for sure that the British assassinated Lincoln. We're pretty sure they assassinated what's his name, McKinley, and then finally, I don't know.
Oh yeah, the Brits absolutely assassinated McKinley. Actually, really funny thing. I did a little bit of a deep dive into that. Do you know why Denali was named Mount McKinley?
No, I didn't.
It was effectively a giant middle finger to the Brits
Oh,
because Alaska is so important to the British
okay, yep.
that they literally named a mountain after the guy that they fucking killed because they were like, "Fuck you." And yes, Kelly Booth did try to escape
Yeah,
to
there's a
Montreal.
great episode I'll have to with on Crypt on Rich Does Politics, where he interviews a guy from Promethean Action about the British always kill our presidents. Though I'm not too sure. I do still think Garfield was the one guy who got killed by one lone nut job.
Well, yeah, once in a blue moon, you're just gonna have a nut. Look at the guy who tried to kill fucking Reagan.
Actually, no, I've heard some Garland Nixon talked about that, and he's pretty sure what would happen is every so often he would get, because he was the major on the Boston police force, he would get a call saying, "By the way, Hinckley will be in town this weekend. Be sure to keep him under surveillance," even though he was supposedly in his nut house. And he's fairly certain it's a George H.W. Bush connection.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. I will have to look into that.
Yeah.
I'll have to look into that. Kelly, you ask, why is Alaska important to the British? So actually, you have to go back to when the Russians sold Alaska to us. So during that time period, the 48th parallel is a very important number, very important place for the British, because the British control of the Puget Sound was a huge strategic thing for them, because they needed a natural harbor for being able to do stuff on the West Coast of the Americas in general. And when we basically forced them to give that up, they had drawn up plans to go after Alaska as well, because the next best natural harbor at that point in time is up in Alaska. And so when it comes to the Arctic waterways, which, a lot of people, there's this whole narrative from back in the day, like, oh, the Arctic can't be traversed, blah, 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 blah. And it's like bullshit. They're called icebreakers. That narrative comes straight out of Rothschilds, by the way. You look into a lot of the education shit, and it's like, oh, great, it's a Rothschilds thing. But hey, to be fair to the Rothschilds, when you got the money and you're the bag man for the fucking British government, and you get told, hey, buy this and do this, I get it.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's the same thing with fossil fuels, the whole fossil fuel narrative, even though now we know hydrocarbons are a thing, and we are like, oh wait, this is a renewable resource. Fuck. All right, cool. Yeah. The only fossil fuel that actually exists is called coal.
Right.
the only one. But yeah, so Alaska is important from the perspective of the British because it's the next best natural harbor. And the Aleutian Islands are even more important than just Alaska itself.
Right.
So yeah, there's that whole thing. And the Russians sold it to us as a way to secure it against the British because the Russians couldn't defend it.
Yep.
But we could.
Yep. Also, Russia needed money because I believe they're in the process of buying off all the serfs.
Yes, at the time, yes.
And
but you see, that's the problem. That was one of the surface level things. That was a first order effect. Second and third order effect. Once you get past that, then you start to realize, oh, there's a major geopolitical point here. Because again, the British they didn't want to give up Seattle. Like giving up the Puget Sound was a huge fucking loss for the British.
And it's also one of the reasons why Canada gets made.
Yes,
because the local Canadians are like, you just gave that away. Well, we can't trust you to make all our decisions for us anymore, Britain.
Well, there is that, but also, there's so little history lesson for you. Are you aware of the Irish raiding parties into Canada?
Fenians. My hometown is the major staging point to stop the Fenian raids.
Do you know why those raids were started?
Well, the Irish wanted to conquer Canada to trade for Ireland.
There was that. There was that, but there was another reason. It was the assassination of Lincoln.
Oh yeah, yep.
Because again,
that would not come up in my high school.
Oh yeah, no, not at all. But it was literally a case of like, oh hey, we'll turn the Irish loose. Let them pressure the fuck out of Canada, force the Brits to dedicate as many resources as possible to defending against this, which, by the way, the Brits did dedicate a fuck ton of resources to it. They didn't dedicate that much manpower, but there was a shit ton of money and armaments that were poured into that.
Yep.
And what did
it act to be passed?
Huh?
The Militia Act is
Yep. And what did it result in? Canada, it militarized Canada, and it also caused a bit of a economic stagnation in your nation as well, or colony, as I prefer to call it. But I don't want to be mean to you, David.
Well, it was a colony certainly then. Right now, it's less so. I know a lot of Americans perceive it as such, but it is definitely less of a colony than most
Dominion Americans. Colony,
we invented the term Dominion.
Six of one, half dozen of the other.
Dominion idea is Canadian. It didn't come from the British.
I am aware of this. However, I'm still going to give you shit.
No problem. Like what happened is in World War II, the Prime Minister gave orders to the commanding general of the Canadian Armed Forces. If you were told to do something stupid like Passchendaele, you can tell the Brits to go screw off.
Good. Real quick, Kelly. So yes, absolutely, it already has. We took about 20 to 25% of the market. Now that was 20 to 25% of Lloyd's market specifically.
Right. Kelly is the person I did the morning podcast with. She's a shipping nerd. She used to one of her first boyfriends was a merchant marine guy. So
good. Probably not great for her from a trauma point of view because merchant mariners can be assholes. But I know this from experience. I had a couple in the family. But yeah, no, the Lloyd's of London definitely took a massive hit. I will also point out, for example, the situation with China and Russia, because China has been underwriting their own insurance for years. You have the Shanghai insurance conglomerate.
Okay.
And then the Russians, they followed the Shanghai model. So it's very much a case of like Yeah, like it, and yeah, Kelly, it literally launched day one. Like they had already laid the framework and laid the ground rules for everything way before they announced it.
Yeah, a lot of the things we think are reactions to things, Kelly, are actually planned, war gamed out. Big Gay Patton, aka Scott Bessent, was well prepared.
Big Gay Patton. Oh man, I love him. He is such a fine fucking man. Oh, love that man.
Yep.
No, actually, Kelly, it wasn't because of the Shadow Fleet, and the Shadow Fleet actually in concept is Iranian.
Yeah, they did have to do it first because of the sanctions way back when.
So the Russians, what they were doing is that it was in relation to the Arctic routes. The Lloyds of London was trying to quash the Arctic routes. So they were trying to hurt the ability for the Russians, because what they were trying to do is force the Russians to ship out of St. Petersburg or out of Novosibirsk or out of Vladivostok. They were trying to force them to ship out of their normal ports. Well, during the summer, the Russians can sail fucking tankers down the rivers from the Arctic Circle into the center of their country, pick up shit, bulk load it in the middle of their nation, and ship it back out.
Yeah.
Like if you actually look into the amount of voyages being plotted out during the summer months in Russia, it's fucking insane. Like the amount of tonnage moving every fucking day is nutty. So it goes further back. Now the whole Shadow Fleet thing, again, the Europeans started up the whole narrative about the Shadow Fleet to try to, they wanted to scare people, like their whole narrative initially, like, oh, all of these ships, they're just running around, they don't have insurance. If they spill oil or whatever, it's going to be a massive catastrophe and shit like that. And it's like, that's not how that works.
Yeah, no, I remember at the beginning of the war, I was watching this guy, Joe Blogs or something like that, and he was doing a lot of financial information. But then suddenly, after a couple of weeks, his covers started to change, and I was like, "Oh, you've been paid off by MI6." And
yeah, sounds about right.
But he was like, well, they're going to cancel the insurance industry. Well, obviously, the Russians will just create their own insurance industry backed by the state, because that's the obvious solution. And and that's what happened. It's like,
well, and that's the thing, is that and this is what Trump means when he says globalism is dead.
Yeah,
it's the demonopolization that Europe has held over several key things. You have the three big ones. I'll just give you the three big ones. Shipping insurance. That right there is the cornerstone, because a lot of people think, oh, and this is actually something a lot of people have said to me, oh, it's if there's like an oil spill or something. No, it's, oh, our ship just broke the fuck down and we need money now in order to fucking do shit.
Yeah.
We need to get repairs done, and we need the money. And that's a bigger part of the policies than just the, oh, there's a spill. Then you have the futures markets. The fact that the Brits, why do the Brits control oil?
Yeah, why do they control oil after all this time? This is ridiculous.
Like they don't have any significant oil supplies of their own. Everybody likes to, like, I had a guy in Twitter in a Twitter space one time be like, oh, but the North Sea drilling. I'm like, I'm sorry. Last time I fucking checked, the North Sea is a fucking shit show to try to fucking drill in. It is some of the rough
problems, but it is actually a lot of. They can do it if they wanted to. But
no. The icing and the swells of that region are so fucking bad that they can't actually build the infrastructure necessary to actually fully tap into the deposit.
Yeah,
It
but
is
they could get more if they wanted to, is what my point.
They might have to talk to the Russians in order to figure that out.
Mhm.
But the point is that why do the Brits control fucking oil?
Yeah,
Because the Brent futures contract is a fucking shit show.
yeah,
Oh, wait, what happened? All of a sudden, the US just started exclusively pricing everything off WTI.
yep,
Oh, and WTI is trading fucking $10 less than fucking Brent.
right.
Eh,
No, I agree. Basically, like I kind of look at the Strait of Hormuz, like Trump wants it closed, so we can use this as leverage against Europe to get them to finally make peace with Ukraine and other things that we need done.
yeah, well, I have my own position on the Ukraine situation, and this is after seeing some of the bullshit. I'm certain the French are gonna move in full bore.
With what?
They're gonna throw whatever the fuck they can.
They got like 115,000 men, and plus that includes the Paris Fire Brigade for some reason.
Bro, they're gonna do well. Okay, actually, you might be surprised by this, or might not be. All emergency services are military in France.
Ah, okay.
Remember, it's the gendarmerie, the
Right.
military police.
Mm,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. A lot of people don't realize that every emergency services in France is military.
right.
So there's that. Real quick, Kelly, just as a final thing, good job. You pointed out the third one, environmental regulations.
Right.
The Europeans have been trying desperately to control the world through environmental regs, which she probably knows quite a bit about that when it comes to ultra low sulfur ship fuels. Fuck that shit. Anyways, sir, it's been an hour.
Okay. Well, and
Have a good one, Kelly.
Yeah, good. I think it's a good time to end the stream now. I've been streaming for a few hours today, either here or on other platforms. So was a good time catching up with you. And then, of course, Kelly coming in with the comment section. That was pretty great. So everyone, if you like what we're saying and want to hear more, be sure to like, share, and subscribe. And we'll see you